So let me tell you something very interesting. And this conversation is going to lead down to what we call habitual transformation, right? Not just personal financial transformation, but habitual transformation. And I was just discussing with a customer. Let me give you a backstory on all this. I was actually just discussing with a customer something very interesting about habits, right? And one of the key topics that he brought on was the fact of transformation in the course of the past 3 years that I've been working with him. Now, by no means am I fully responsible for his success. He did that on his own. He took initiative. He learned what I taught him. He came under my wings. I did some mentoring for him and, of course, gave him some direction. Now, all kudos to him for taking action. So the first thing we have to realize is we have access to all sorts of information all the time, right? We're over inundated with a lot of content. We're over inundated with a lot of info that we can easily access, and most of the times for free. Whether it be researching on YouTube, Google searching information that we're not sure of, and then doing research on that topic. And successfully enough, of course, we'll come to realize, okay, whether or not the information that we were looking for met our standard, right? Met our satisfaction. And one of those things that I want you to be really familiar with, right, as part of this discussion is the idea of transformation. So transformation happens in very micro levels in human beings, right? It starts with you. You're seeking out information, and as soon as you Google search or YouTube search a how-to tutorial or what information or just basic research, your intellect is curious, right? So you're going out there, you're trying to figure it out, and all of a sudden after that search, when you hit that search button or press enter in your keyboard or in your phone, and you get that content in front of you, and you read through the content or you watch a video, and you're completely transformed. Because now what you have is insight, information that you didn't have before, right? It's you adding and stacking information in your memory. You're placing that information. And you're storing that content to make a decision on whatever you learned, whether at some point sooner or later. Now, one of the things that you have to understand is, psychologically speaking, and I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I can tell you something very interesting. The difference between actionable transformation and passive transformation is the difference between, let's say, somebody researching something that's very critical to their wealth building strategies or necessity to build wealth, and they just look at the information and they just store it in the mind and they don't act on it, is passive transformation, right? It's basically they're not using that intellect or whatever they've learned to further their journey to building wealth, to further their capability to transform themselves. All right. And then you have the other group of people, we're very rare, and I'd say too, as far as highly successful individuals, right, is those type of people that go out there, research and get the content and then apply it right away, right? They want to satisfy the curiosity, their intellect to the highest standard. So they get that information, they store it, but at the same, they implement, right? They take certain risks and then they implement. And the reason I'm sharing this information with you is because, when it comes to personal credit, when it comes to transformation, it starts with the mind. It starts with curiosity, right? Of course, you want to satisfy your curiosity. You want to go and get that level of transformation for your intellect so you can satisfy that level of intellect, right? Just by understanding the information that you're looking for and getting the answer. But then nothing happens, right? You just store that information. You're not acting on it, and you just let it be. You let it slide. Why is that? Right? Why is that? Well, the truth is, and it's been psychologically proven, is that individuals who tend to store more information have a period of paralysis they go through their mind. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of individuals that I come across in my past, not just now, but also in the past when I was doing business, when I was doing these type of seminars and giving education to my already existing customers, and I invite them for dinner, in New York, that is, right? And we used to get together and we host events for Christmas, et cetera, and we had special get-togethers. During that time, I gave it a gap, right? So the year before we were discussing, we were doing some financial planning, and then we were helping these type of customers. But during that time, after the whole year passed and we're sitting down finally, and I'm on stage and I'm speaking to these guys and gals respectively, every single one of these individuals, get 95% of them, whatever information they attained for themselves and access to and stored in their heads, they never acted on. And 90% of the time, or I would even go as far as say 95% of the time, when I asked them, how come you have all this info, and you learn so much, but you're not able to do anything with it. What happened exactly, right? What is the issue that is basically holding you back from doing what you need to do? And the most common answer I have is I'm confused. I don't know what steps to start with, right? I'm confused. I don't know what steps to start with. And this happens to a lot of us. I'm even guilty of it at times when I'm looking up some information on how to accelerate my growth for business, on how to acquire certain type of companies, and how to get into the boardroom with a specific class of companies making X amount of dollars a year. Let's business and acquisitions, right? Mergers and acquisitions. I learned quite a bit, but the end result is sometimes I get confused on what steps to take first. Should I start discussing about the capital market? Should I discuss about the debt that they have? Should I talk about restructuring? Should I talk about the issue of sales in their company? Whatever it is, right? The perspective here is, even myself, to a lot of you guys, you might be thinking, oh man, Ali's got a good, he does good business. He's in investment banking, et cetera, credit repair. But I'm as good as you guys. I started where you guys are today. Okay, I struggled as much as you guys did. In fact, more possibly in the past, because I got through a lot of ups and downs. I've gone through a lot of ups and downs, right? And one point, hopefully when we meet in the future, we will discuss that. But the conversation here is that, most of these people said they were confused. They didn't know what to do with the information they had. And very few people, let's say 5% out of 100% said, well, I took the information bite size at a time. I stared it. But when I stored it, I kind of prioritized on what actions I'm going to take first. And I did it right away to test the waters, to see if whether or not this information is useful for me and my strategy or whatever I needed to do. In financial planning, of course, and acquiring assets and building their wealth. And a good amount of them said that out of the testing that they've done, they just kind of retooled it and basically positioned it in different ways and in different priorities, and they created an outcome, right? And that 5% of the group of people that I was discussing with had a higher success ratio in terms of their personal credit, finances, their wealth, the way that their lives were, in contrast to the 95% of the people who had stored all the same amount of information in those 5%, but failed to act on it, failed to transform their intellectual understanding to the actionable steps that are necessary for them to be successful. So that's something that I want to bring to your attention, right? So most of you guys have been following me on my channel, and I respect you guys for that, and I definitely love you guys a lot. And I try my best to answer as much as I can to give you clarity, so you're not confused, right? You're not just storing this information and not sure of what steps to take, and you're not confused. I try to give you as much clarity and direction as possible, so that you guys can act and take in your own hands the responsibility, the tasks, the commitment necessary for you to get the transformation, not only on an intellectual level, right, but in a credit level, right, fixing and transforming your credit reports to where it needs to be. And for that, right, it's important that you prioritize actionable steps, your action plan, right? And this is very critical. And your attack strategy, the profile, all these type of things that we discuss. It's not enough just to have techniques, but it's also very important to have an ideal plan, an executable plan that you can follow step by step without the fuss, the confusion, right? Without being over-inundated with a lot of information in your intellect and your capability and storing that without really taking the actions. Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to go through different content, not just mine. I'm pretty sure you guys are exposed to a lot more information out there, but you're going to go through this different phases of content and information, and you're going to come across a lot of that, and most of you guys will try to figure out which is good, right? You'll give it some time, you'll pace yourself out, and you have passive intelligence, the passive transformation, and that's not what we want here, right? So an idea that I've done, and the reason why I launched my course, and I'm not trying to pitch you guys or anything like that. Of course, you're more than welcome to go through my free content and learn about the stuff that I put out there, and indulge yourself and immerse yourself in an environment that I created for you, because I'm always going to give you honest feedback and information that's critical to your success. But the reason why I designed my course in a very unique way was because the first 5 modules is not really technical. Right? It's not really technical at all. It's everything that I learned in mindset structuring with the highest and the most wealthiest individuals that you can possibly think of, who are behind the scenes, who bought and sold companies, who built a lot of wealth who are in discussions with financial institutions. If they move money around, banks can collapse. Those are the type of people that we have closed door meetings with and we learn from. And that kind of value only comes from having a certain standard of thinking, of doing things, of creating systems internally to take actions and to take your level of wealth in a serious manner. So the first 5 modules were designed to give you all the steps that are necessary to prepare you for the journey ahead in credit. And not just credit, but also wealth, right? And the UPCM was also designed to create a free community. Once you're logged in, once you register, and once you access the course, we have a free mastermind group on Facebook. And the reason why I did that was I noticed that there's very few support communities out there when it comes to personal credit. Very few. And if those who have it, they charge a lot of money. And they try to, break your bank for information that you can access for free. And if all it took was giving direction after you purchase their content or course or whatever you're paying, then the world would be a better place. Customers would have a lot easier when it comes to not just storing intellect and being passive, but having that level of intelligence and transforming that into actionable steps if they only had direction. But the reason why a lot of people won't give you direction is because they depend on you. They depend on you. And the beauty here is I don't need it. I don't need to depend on you. Fact of the matter is I had created my entire YouTube channel, and I'll be honest with you guys, was because I wanted to document the information that's necessary to preview investment banking clients who are getting into the buy and sell side of their company, who have a lot of business, they have a lot of turnover, and they just wanted to restructure their personal credit and possible business credit to create a financial successful exit. And at the same time, I wanted to document my journey to some existing clients that I was servicing for the years that I've been dealing with them. And I just wanted to give them content that they can access. And luckily I found you guys and you found my channel, and I show up on some of these YouTube suggest videos, etc. But at the end of the day, right, my goal is to give you the most accurate information possible to help you go through that transformation so it doesn't stay passive, but it becomes an active transformation, right? It becomes an active transformation. And for that to take place, certain actions have to be met, right? So now you might be curious as to what kind of information I'll be sharing on Facebook, what kind of stuff is shared on the course. That's up to you to explore. I can't always keep giving you guys things that you're not going to take actions on. And here's one thing I learned the hard way in my years of business, especially going through different mentors in different areas of business, is if you pay for something, you pay more attention. If you don't pay, you don't pay no attention because it's free space in your mind. But when you pay to something, you're committed. And the higher you pay, the more higher commitment. Unless otherwise, there are certain no values that are added on that level of dime on you, right? When a lot of individuals will ask you for a certain amount of dollars that just doesn't correlate. And I clearly talked about that and why most credit repair businesses fail. And one of those strategies was overpricing and not really strategizing the value given to customers due to that price range. It's not justified. So think about that. Think about the type of transformation you want to go through. Do you want to go through a passive transformation, just sit there and not get the information that you need to change yourself, to go ahead and leap forward into the level that you need to be to build your wealth, credit, and not only that, your financial capability. That's a necessity. You have to move forward. You can't stay in one place, right? Nobody does. Nobody wants to stay in one place. So that's the information I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope that you took to heart what I told you and I shared with you. It's information that I learned the hard way. And I believe that a lot of things can change if you decide to take the transformation that you're going through in terms of collecting information from passive to active. Now, you don't have to buy my course. You don't have to go through that. But what I'm saying is what you learn, implement. Engage in conversations. When I put my videos up, if you guys have questions, question me. Post comments, post feedback, whatever you guys need. But when I see that you're engaged, I feel satisfied. When I see that you guys are really serious about taking the matters into your own hands, I feel happier because I'm empowering you to do that. I'm creating a community that I know for a fact is trustworthy and they're trying to do things the right way. And that's all I wanted for you guys, right? Now, the benefit of that is if you decide to come through the UPCM and join our Facebook community and deal with me directly, you have ongoing access to me. And of course, specialized resources that I would only share to my members who have committed to transform their lives. But on the upside, you still have those resources that you have on YouTube and watching my videos and content. But I encourage you guys to take the level of transformation that you're going through from passive to active. Don't get stuck in that paralysis stage, and really take your time to dig deep and analyze your situation and push forward always to make tomorrow better than it is today. That's the best I got for you guys. Okay, so I hope you guys understood where I'm coming from. Much love and respect to you guys. And I hope that you guys enjoy the weekend. This is Ali Tarafdar, your guide and mentor. Bye for now.